So Melchizedek brought guidelines, they called principles. By following those principles on a daily basis, with a diligent heart seeking truth, I and I can gradually purge ourselves of the corruption fed to us by the evil white world and learn to become ourselves, so that we would then be fit to go and redeem Africa in righteousness and uprightness, as it was before they came. That is what this place is about, in a nutshell. So we have principles that govern everything. All aspects of our livity, there are principles that govern them. This is the unfree gatehouse. Because we have been so corrupted, we must go through systems of purging to rebuild ourselves. So you have a general gatehouse out there, and for the woman, the proper principle is that when a woman comes to the foundation and the guard doesn't know that woman, he therefore doesn't know whether she's free according to our principles or not. He is supposed to ask her humbly to wait while he calls a woman within the foundation. We are called empresses. That's what Melchizedek said we are. So he calls an empress who goes and checks the woman outside. If she falls within our 21-day principles, we have an international freedom of 7 days, where the woman who is still going through her monthly cycle has freedom to move almost everywhere except the altar, which no woman is supposed to go on. That's how the ceremonial order works. It's operated by a man. But during the 7 days international freedom, the woman can go anywhere else. After that 7-day international freedom, if she hasn't started her issue again, she is still not free to move. There's a level of humbleness where she's restricted in the places she's allowed to go. Now the principle, that will go on until she starts her issue. And on the first day of the flow, the woman by then should be inside her gates, and she should be prepared for her 21 days journey, where she separates herself from the family and she stays within her own area for 21 days. She flies a red flag at her gate. No one locks her in, she locks her gate herself, because it's a freedom movement. So she, on the 21st day of first sign of her issue, she should be in there already, but she should have been preparing. She puts up a red flag at her gate. Now, the principle says from that point to the 21st day, she is to have contact with no one in the family who is not in the same stage as her. Blessed love. Blessed love. The principles provide for that. A ministering angel. The ministering angel is another empress who is not going through the journey at that time, who ministers to the empress who is going through her journey. She's the only one who is supposed to go to her daily, 2 or 3 times a day if necessary. Yes, sister.
So, do they do kids the same way?
Pardon?
Children. Yeah, female children, do they do them the same way?
If the empress has children, females stay with her. Males, after a maximum age of 7, should not stay with her. He should be, as the principle says, the youth man should grow up among man, because that is what he is growing up to be. So up to the age of 7 maximum, the empress would teach her son, she has a prince, she would teach him how to take care of himself. So by the time he reaches the age of 7, he should not be with her anymore during that 21 days. he should be outside. If the Empress if he hasn't got a father, then the brothers should take care of him. This is what I have seen done. I have seen little prince as young as 4 years old out with their father. And if they're naughty, going in with their mother is a punishment. I have seen little Prince Ambassa, bald, when his father left him with the brethren to go on a mission, and he misbehaved. And the brethren reported it to his father. It was a serious misbehavior, and he'd been warned before. So it had to be carried out. His father took him with the ministering angel to his mother's gates and said, "You're going in with Mama because you were naughty, and this is your punishment." He bawled. He never did that misbehavior again because he wants to be outside with man, going on missions with man, playing drums with man, and all them kind of stuff. So that's basically it. The female child stays with her mother because she's growing up to be woman. The male child goes with his father, or if his father's not around, brothers who are willing to take care of him.
Now, when a female child grows up to maybe 10 or 11 and she starts,
Then she has to fit in with the principal.
then she is also
She has
under
to
the
go,
principal.
once she starts her monthly cycle, she just has to fit in with the principal, go where she has to go. There are more than one house, and sometimes a mother and child have to split up. I've seen that happen where the mother is on one, because, the mother's on one stage, and if the child starts on another stage, she has to go with someone who's on that stage to keep it level. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that difficult for the young women, like who, like a 10 or 11-year-old female who has to split from her mother? Is that usually difficult, or because the principles are known?
Understood.
Yeah.
Ingrained.
Natural, because if she's taught the principle from her earliest stage by her mother, it's a part of life. When I came here, I brought a child with me. She was 4 years old when I first came here. And she learned that when the time comes, she was going to go. And she was looking forward to it, actually. There was my princess was called Shani. There was another little princess the same age as her called Ethiopia. And her and Ethiopia used to sit and talk about when they go in-house, when they go on their journey. They were actually looking forward to it. It was a part of their life. So it's a natural, whatever you grow up, whatever's ingrained into you as you go, you accept, don't you? And some rebel eventually, because that's how children are. They don't always follow the guidance of parents. At the point where they are able to make their own decisions, often they rebel. I did. So, yes, when the school isn't running at the moment, but I was a part of the school when it was running, and the princes would be in the school. That was a part of their lessons: Psalms reading, Broomfield, math field, those were all the industries. And schooling, reading and writing and arithmetic, that was a part of it. The princesses now, when they were free, they would come to school. When they had to go in-house with their mama, they would take lessons in with them that their mamas had to help them to do, so that when they come again, the teacher could check it. That's how that's done.
It's 2 women who are pregnant. Do they have a different journey, or what do they
Well,
do?
the 21-day principle, which is Melchizedek order, while you keep that, you do not become pregnant. You make a choice to trod Melchizedek order, and you don't become pregnant. But for women who come into the foundation in a state of pregnancy, we turn no one away who comes seeking. The woman who comes in a state of pregnancy, we have principles that guide that. It's called the baby mother principles. Yes, we do. Melchizedek covered every angle. Any other question?
So you only have 7 days to walk around. This fascinates us, I think, because we come from a culture where we are free every day.
I was brought up in that culture.
Yeah, yeah. So this is new to us, and we
Shall I tell
trying to
you
understand.
something that a sister who is in-house at the moment, last month when I was ministering to her, she's been here now for a year. This month will be a year. So she's been keeping this principle every month. And she said to me last month, her 21 days is her freedom. She's free to be herself, to live with, to find herself. That's the key. I've kept the 21 days principle, and I know that to be a fact. I learned more about me, this being, what's outside and what's inside, on my 21 days journey than I could ever have learned anywhere else, because I just had me to deal with. Can you imagine? Blessed love.
So if someone breaks the principles, or like, don't follow all the way through, like what happens?
Well, there are various levels of discipline, but the ultimate level is to leave the foundation. If you don't want the principles that govern the foundation, you should leave. That's the ultimate. We don't have any prison in here. So this is a free place. No one drags you in. You come in freely. You learn the principles that govern the place. If you don't want those principles and you're an upright human being, you leave. The world is big. This hill is just a few acres of the world. I was out of the place for quite a long time, and the thing broke down and it wasn't rebuilt for a while, and I came back and just say, rebuild it. You live here, you keep the principle. So you make a choice. It's a free choice.
So you leave.
One's made. Right, we have a woman. Well, why be a part of Melchizedek order if you don't want to do what Melchizedek order says? It's an order.
You want to be a part of like the
Order. You make a decision to live that order. I made that decision to live this order. It's a perfect order for me. It might not be perfect for others. Others have come and they didn't find it suited them, so they went away.
I think that where we're trying to get is how do we get another generation and another generation?
You make the choice to be without, or you make the choice to do. If the principle that governs the foundation is the 21-day monthly purification principle. If you want to make children, you leave the foundation because you don't want to live the principle. So you're free to go out and live your life as you want it outside.
so if you leave, can you come back?
Well, I've seen people leave and come back, yes. I've left and come back. I have left and come back, yes. It is allowed. But while you live here, the principles that govern, you're living Melchizedek order. And that is a fundamental part of Melchizedek order. If you don't want to live Melchizedek order, you're free to go and live your own order. Yes, love.
So how do you guys feel about tattoos and piercings and things like that?
Taboo. You come perfect. You come out of the womb perfect. Mother Nature created you perfect. I mean, I stopped wearing earrings because I wasn't always BoBo Shanti. I came here when I was 40 years old, so I'd lived the normal life. I had lived in Britain and America, mostly in Britain and Jamaica. But when I come to this tradition, it's a new life. I chose a new way of life because that way of life was destroying me. I was actually dying when I come here. Babylon doctors gave me a prognosis of less than 2 years. That was 25 years ago. Well, the prognosis was 27 years ago. It took me 2 years to get here. So it's choice. We are in an age of information. That means everyone have an opportunity to learn. When I came here, I was sick. I was very sick in England. In fact, the sickness actually started in America. I collapsed on a club in 42nd Street and had to be picked up off the floor. From then on, it was just judgment and judgment and judgment and doctors and hospitals and doctors and hospitals. But because I had been brought up in England, I went back to England for all this, because that's where my home was. Eventually, they said they couldn't do anything more for me. I should get ready to die. Now, I was 38 years old. I wasn't ready to die. So I made out the will they told me to make out, because the doctor said, if you don't want to give problems to your family, make out your will, because I was fairly successful. So I made out the will, and I phoned a solicitor, and I made an appointment to have it legalized. Before this appointment, I had a vision, a sound vision, that said, go to Jamaica. I was in my house alone. My lover was away at the time. And I walked all around my house trying to figure out who was talking to me. There was no one else there. So I followed the voice, and a week later I was in Jamaica, where after several weeks of wandering around Jamaica trying to figure out why I was here when I didn't want to come to Jamaica ever again, I didn't like Jamaica, I met the first BoBo I ever met, lying on a beach in Westmoreland. And I told BoBo my story, and he said, but you don't have to die, Empress. That's folly. I said, what all the doctors say I'm dying. He said, oh no, you don't have to die. My father can teach you how to live and how to know yourself. Who's your father? King Emmanuel Charles Edward, Melchizedek the Black Christ. Where is your father? He's in Bull Bay, St. Andrew.